This video will show you how to remove the stock front and rear suspension on all 2018 and newer Jeep Wrangler JLs.
So now we're going to move on to the front, and the eagle-eyed viewers out there probably noticed that our JL is missing a front bumper. Now all we did there is we took it off just so you could get a better idea of what we're doing from this angle. It makes things a little bit easier to see on video. You do not need to remove the bumper or splash guard even to get this installed. We just did it so you could see a little bit better. Now with that being said, we're basically going to do the same thing here. We got the Jeep up in the air, we got the wheels off, we have our axle tube supported with some pole jacks. And just like the rear, the first step we're going to do is loosen up some of those brake line brackets with a 10mm socket. So now we can start to work on the big stuff. We're going to start with our sway bar, which just like the rear is an 18, and then the lower shock mount, which is also an 18. Now to get to the lower portion of that sway bar end link, I have the extension and a U-joint and an 18mm socket. It is a little bit tough to get to. You can probably get it easier with a ratchet if you don't have this set up here. So now we're just going to do the sway bar and lower shock mount for the other side. Next up is the track bar that's held on with a 21mm bolt. I have the same sort of setup I did for the sway bar end link, the extension and the U-joint. That one's a little bit tough to get at. If you do have trouble with that, you can always hit the other side, but that's going to require a wrench. There's one more thing for us to do. There's two Christmas tree clips on this wire here on the passenger side. We're just going to use a trim panel removal tool to get those out of the way. Now we're just going to lower the pole jacks and take the tension off the springs. I'm just trying to get as low as possible here, and you can see me, I'm checking these wires, brake lines, this e-brake cable, and the brake lines over here. Make sure I don't go too low and damage them. Now we're just going to work that spring out toward the lower control arm here behind the shock. Now we're just going to work out that isolator. So we're going to start our installation at the rear, and the first step, obviously, get your Jeep in the air, get all of the wheels off it, and get that axle tube supported. Now, like I said, this is going to be just as hard as removing a spring, so we're going to have to drop that rear axle tube. As we're doing that, we don't want to stress these brake lines here, so the first step of the install is actually going to be to loosen up that bracket holding that on to make sure we don't stress those lines. It's held on with a 10mm bolt. And do the same thing for the other side. Just to keep those handy, I'm going to thread them right back in. With the brake line brackets removed, we can further prepare to drop that axle tube. We're going to remove the bottom of the shock mount and also the bottom of the sway bar end link on both sides. It's all held on with 18mm hardware. And with the shock out, that'll give us easy access to this side of the sway bar end mitt. Now we're going to drop our track bar from the axle side with a 21mm socket. So now we have all of the big stuff out of the way. There's one more thing we have to hit before we start lowering our axle here to get the springs out, and that is our e-brake cable bracket. That's way up in there. We got the extension on the impact gun here and a 13mm socket to drop that out. Now we're going to lower those pole jacks, release the tension on the springs, and pull them out.
Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Jeep, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.